Stop scrolling! Canada's condo market is crashing in the middle of a housing crisis. Prices are falling in Vancouver, Toronto, and other major cities. Investors are bailing, and there's tons of listings going up. And young Canadians still locked out. We hit the streets, talked to some experts, and dug up the numbers. Let's go! In Vancouver, condo market prices have dropped 4% since last year, and in Toronto, 7%. Average prices now sit around $736K in Vancouver and $705K in Toronto. Meanwhile, listings are surging. Toronto proper hit 7,100 listings in April. There are great sales everywhere, yet no one's buying. So what's happening in the Canadian condo market right now?
The Canadian condo market is apparently really suffering right now. You look at the statistics, even compared to last year, we're down about 20% overall in residential real estate. But the caveat comes with, we saw a historic high in 2022. The market was booming. Properties were selling significantly over asking, significantly over what the established cost at that time was. And at the end of the day, corrections have to happen. You look at the market trend, whenever there is a high, there is a correction, there's a dip. This seems like a very historic correction because that was a historic high. And if you look at the overall trend of the market, we are still consistent growth, but in the current time, people are struggling to buy condos.
Interest rates have skyrocketed from 0.25 in 2021 to over 5% right now.
The average mortgage rate right now, prime, is 4.95, and people are able to get fixed for around 4.2, 4.3 in that ballpark. Variable is, as always, a little bit lower.
Negative cash flow is killing the investor game. Why are owners trying to sell their condos and lowering prices?
They're overstretched. A lot of people who try to buy condos as investments, they thought they could perhaps rent them out as Airbnbs, or they were thinking that they were going to get a significant return on it. They bought multiple properties. They are overstretched. They can't make the mortgage payments. So the people who cannot afford to hold are the ones selling right now.
Across Canada, over 32,000 condos are set to finish building this year. Supply is outpacing demand by a lot.
We have a historic high of homes available listed for sale, 10,000. In a decade, we haven't had 10,000 homes listed for sale, active listings. It is a historic case of supply outpacing demand.
Why are people not buying condos right now?
A lot of economic distrust. I know people don't want to hear it, but globally, politics does play a role in real estate. And when you have people in even very secure jobs, this is in my personal experience, we have 2 clients whose spouses have lost their very secure jobs in the IT sector. So people are very cautious right now because they're uncertain of the economic environment, right? At the end of the day, when mortgage rates lessen, people are expecting that they will soften further. People are going to start picking up the pace, and it's crowd mentality. When most people start buying, everybody's going to rush.
When did you buy?
25 years ago, we bought our second home.
Oh, wow.
And 7 years prior to that, we bought our first home.
Was it a condo or a house?
A house in East Vancouver. And then we moved 7 years later to North Vancouver in 2000.
Tell me what the prices were of those properties when you bought them.
$300K, our first home, and just north of $300K when we moved to North Vancouver.
Have you paid off your mortgage?
Not quite. You gotta live in the city. It's expensive to live here, so we refinanced a few times.
What area do you live in?
Downtown.
When did you buy?
3.5 years ago.
Do you have a house or a condo?
Condo, 2-bedroom.
How much was it when you purchased it?
$950.
Are you still paying a mortgage?
Yes.
Are high mortgage rates affecting you, and have you ever thought about selling?
We have a fixed mortgage rate, so we're okay for now, but when it comes up for renewal, it definitely will impact us.
We have thought about selling. High interest rates does affect our day-to-day living. We have less discretionary income because of the high rates. And so now we're looking at maybe moving to somewhere in the interior.
Is the reason that you want to move related to how expensive it is to live here?
It's a factor. You know, we're land poor, if you would, right? So you've got all your value tied up in real estate, and you want to, enjoy life. And so selling your house and moving somewhere that's a little more affordable makes sense.
Here's the paradox. Canada has a housing shortage, record low vacancy, and skyrocketing rents. But thousands of condos are sitting on the market. Why? Because the homes that are being built aren't accessible to the people who need them.
How much do you pay in rent?
$1,500 a month,
And what area do you live in?
just down on Bernie Street.
I live in Olympic Village and it's 2,700, I believe.
1138 East Hastings.
Do you feel like that's a reasonable price for the area that you're in?
Yes and no. It's a micro suite. It's 249 square feet, but I also have to live in the same area as all of the property, right?
Do you think that you'll ever be able to buy in the Vancouver area?
Yes.
Why?
Family situation, I guess.
Is your family from Vancouver?
Yeah, I was born here.
It'll take a little while, but hopefully. I really want to.
Honestly, do I ever see myself owning? No. Boy, in the lotto? Yeah. Other than that, it's just working and owning? No. Today, it's a dream, I guess.
What do you think about the situation for people that aren't from Vancouver?
Not possible at all. Looking at the prices, I think it's a bit crazy. Like, I can't imagine if I didn't have the advantages that I had, what people would do. I'm grateful, but I can't imagine.
I think it's going to be pretty difficult for sure. Like, there's so many different factors at play, whether it's supply or just the ability to save right now with the cost of living here. It's pretty expensive. It's tough.
It's not that you can't own. It's the steps now that they have in place for you to own. I read an article that for a couple to go buy their first place, they must both be at their jobs for 5 years. They must both bring in $80,000 to $90,000 a year. There's all these steps now. They just don't let you buy. Like, it's not what it used to be.
I'm wondering, because you say that you're in wealth management, if you had to estimate, how much do you think somebody would need to make yearly in order to put a down payment on a home and pay a mortgage consistently?
Fortunately, like, if you have a partner and stuff, it's a little easier, but I'd say like 200, 250 minimum, just to be able to living and maintaining a comfy lifestyle while also being able to make those payments. And then of course.
Is this happening all over Canada or just in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver?
Looking at the statistics, in most major metropolitan areas, this seems to be happening. Calgary has had a lot of investment in condos, and it has now been lying empty for quite a while. Investment has really quieted there. So a lot of the areas, people don't want to buy condos, especially studios. They got to be really small. People don't like that.
Then came Housing Minister Gregor Robertson. When people asked him if housing prices needed to drop, he said,
No, I think that we need to deliver more supply. The government of Canada has not been building affordable housing since the 90s, and we've created a huge shortage across Canada.
But Toronto has over 14,000 unsold condo units, and in Vancouver, 16,000. Is that not supply? What good is more supply if people can't afford it or don't want to live in it? Some analysts predict the condo market could fall another 5 to 10% before year end. But if interest rates stay high and developers slow down, we might see a deeper freeze and longer pain. How does this affect young people trying to get into the market? Will they have any luck buying now or in the next few years?
That's the golden question. Seriously, if you can afford to buy, if you have the savings for it, this is actually a great time to buy. You are not gonna get more inventory, more choice, lower rates in a couple of years. If you can afford to put 20% down, do that. But if you can't, a lot of these builders are offering incentives like 3-year mortgage free. I don't know if people are aware of this. If you have a few friends that you really trust, or if you're like two couples, you can combine and buy property together. I know it seems like a huge risk, but I know a lot of immigrant families who do that, and that's the only way to build generational wealth in a country like Canada. Property is the only thing that gives you consistent growth. Even now, in 3 years, it seems to be a negative, but the 10-year ratio is still positive. We still have upward growth. The market is always going to grow, especially in a real estate market like Canada's. It can be done. If you trust them, it can be done. I've seen it done. I have clients who have done that.
So what's your call? Will there be a crash or a correction? Is it the time to buy or is it the time to bail? Are condos still the Canadian dream or a cautionary tale? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay with us. This ride's just getting started. Real voices, real market, real talk all across Canada.